Sagittarius, this is Michelle, and I'm here to do your 2019 year ahead reading. This reading will cover the entire year, and we'll break it down into 4 quarters. Something a little different is that I will be using this standard deck of playing cards. This is the B playing cards, the B playing card deck. And then after the playing cards, I will pull some cards from the Universal Wheat Tarot deck, either for clarification or further encouragement and guidance. This deck is illustrated by Pamela Coleman Smith, but it has been recolored by Mary Hanson Roberts. So the colors are a little different from the deck that we have been using in the past. So I'm going to continue to shuffle just a bit more until I feel the cards are ready for a cut. And I think that will do the trick for us, Sagittarius. Let's take a look at what we have for the year ahead 2019. And we are starting out with the 4 of Diamonds, followed by the Ace of Hearts and the King of Clubs. Next, for the second quarter, we have the 10 of Hearts, followed by the 2 of Clubs and the Ace of Diamonds. 2 aces. For the third quarter, the 4 of Hearts, so 2 4s and 2 aces thus far. Oh goodness, 2 10s and the 10 of Diamonds. Followed by the 3 of Clubs. Wow, the 4 of Spades to start off the final quarter. That's 3 4s. Then we have the Jack of Diamonds and the King of Hearts. Wow, Sagittarius, I'm just struck by these repeating numbers that are coming up, that have come up in your spread. The 3 4s, 2 10s, 2 aces, 2 kings. So let's get started with the first quarter. Sagittarius, I would say it looks to me that for some folks, there is a sense of a strong desire for change. What I'm not going to say at this point yet that the change comes about, actually, but I think you can sense the need for change or expansion. I'm not going to bring in too much astrology to this reading, but I will say that that does certainly correspond with the concept of having Jupiter, your ruling planet, in your sign Sagittarius for almost the entire year of 2019 up until about December. So I'm only bringing that in as sort of confirmation of what is showing up in the cards. it looks like the change potentially, it actually might have to do with several areas of life, but I do see clearly that there is a relationship here to, I want to say, your level of status or wealth. Some of you might be working on manifestation practices regarding wealth building, and I mean, that sounds very materialistic, I know, and it is in a sense, but I will just say that when we are in a phase where we are really focusing on manifestation at the physical plane, it involves a deep spiritual metaphysical awareness and also practice, because the energies that we put out into the world and our belief system that we project out into the world comes back to us. And so what I'm seeing is that for some Sagittarius folks, you might be aware that you want more. Let me put it that way. And you want a more satisfying, even if things are already very good, let me say that, things could be quite good, but that you have a sense that things could be even better, and that your heart could even be more fulfilled. I'm going to say also about this that it doesn't necessarily mean that you are dissatisfied. Some folks actually might feel a little dissatisfied with the way things are. But if you are practicing manifestation, you might also be looking around at your present environment and thinking to yourself, you know what? I'm very, very grateful for what I have. And I would like to just bring it up another notch. And sometimes this is the most effective practice because we are putting out the energy of gratitude, and that's a very high frequency. And we can also be thinking about how we would like things to be even better. This requires a lot of mental discipline and spiritual faith, even if the things that we are seeing in our manifestation comes about on the physical plane. This could have to do either with a type of a relationship that you would like to have. That's very possible. You could be manifesting a relationship with a person who is, I want to say, equally enthusiastic, vivacious, and positive. Someone who also has very high goals in mind and is working to better themselves as well. I think that's who you are, Sagittarius, and I feel that the King of Clubs represents you here. The equivalent of this in the tarot would be a rod or a wand card, and so it does signify fire, and I feel this represents you in your strength, in your power, taking charge and control. It doesn't matter what gender that we are talking about here, especially for a general reading, right? I believe that this is you, and that you are satisfied at the moment, or not possibly, but at any rate, you can be grateful for what you have in the moment and know that you would like to bring things up to the next level. And potentially this could be related to a relationship with someone who is equally positive, just as you are. I'm going to jump down to the second quarter, though, and say that it looks like there is a combination here of whether you are even fully aware of it or not. And I say that because sometimes the things that we want are so, well, let me put it this way. Sometimes we haven't actually spent a lot of time thinking about what it is, but it is there at a sort of subconscious level. You might want to bring that up to a more conscious level. That's possible. But what I am seeing in the second quarter is that the Ace of Diamonds coming up, and we also have the Ace of Hearts. And so I feel that there's also a sense of, I want to say, a change in values coming about. I think there's just tremendous opportunity. I am looking at the Two of Clubs now, and I am just seeing a really, I have to get back to Jupiter just for a second. Jupiter in Sagittarius this is a 12-year cycle for Sagittarians. So whatever it is that you have in Sagittarius in your natal chart, as Jupiter swings by, all right, that is starting a 12-year cycle for you. And what I'm seeing here in the playing cards is just a tremendous opportunity over the course of the entire year. It looks like there will very, very clearly be a new start in 2019 regarding potentially relationships and finances or wealth, even if it doesn't actually start until the following year. The sense of it, or the ideas for the change, are starting to develop in 2019. And it is a beautiful, beautiful year to spend some time thinking about what exactly it is that you would like, how you can ratchet this up to the next level for yourself. By the third quarter, I feel, and even the fourth quarter, I feel Sagittarius like this is almost like there's a pot, right? And it's there's something brewing inside this pot. Maybe it's like a stew, okay? And it's just delicious. It's just going to be delicious. But it's still cooking, even by the third quarter. And it can be a sense almost like building up inside of you, building up, building up, building up. And there's a sense by the third quarter that I believe that your ambitions, your goals are really going to start growing by this third quarter around these new ideas about what you would like for yourself. And again, I am going to say it looks like the new picture that you are creating for yourself, and for which I want to say your motivation and your enthusiasm is growing as the course of the year progresses. That new picture, it's almost, I want to say, like it's all encompassing. It can involve many areas and aspects of life. It can involve happiness for yourself in relationship with another, happiness for your family, a strong sense of security financially, a sense that you have reached almost a pinnacle, we might say, financially. For some of you, it's possible that you could be looking at purchasing a property, let me say, or it could be inheriting a property or selling a property. All those things might come into play here, but they would be involved in this sense that you are looking at a better life, what that picture is and how you will bring it about. And so even quite naturally, it might involve selling one property and purchasing another. That's also possible. But a lot of enthusiasm, I think, even if there is the sense, and we have to keep this in mind, that this is a This is a long-term cycle. This is the beginning of a long-term cycle. We're not talking about what happens in, a certain week or even a certain month. It's this progression that occurs over the entire year. Now, I think towards the end of the year, and this makes perfect sense. If indeed, Sagittarius, you have been thinking about making some pretty big changes, and the changes have not come about actually. This has taken like a whole year of planning and process, and you've got this whole sort of vision in mind. That is what I'm picking up from this. You've got this whole vision in mind. Things feel pretty much complete and stable in one sense, and yet you're also thinking about this kind of new change that you want to put in effect. It's possible that in the final quarter that there are some doubts that creep in. There's a little bit of doubts about the plans that maybe you're thinking about making, but that makes sense because we always take a risk, right? When we instigate or put into effect a big change in life. And so this is entirely understandable. I think it's just perfectly natural for the cycle, is that the closer you get to the change, a little bit more perhaps uncertainty might creep into the picture. I want to get back to this feeling, this sense about the selling the property. I think this is, of course, only going to pertain to a few people, and also my Sagittarius readings aren't really going out to very many folks, I must say. But it's possible that you might feel a little bit sentimental about what you're leaving behind and what you're planning on bringing into life. All right. And so I'm seeing, again, that's very specific, but I think you will know. I think you will know if this is hitting you. For those select folks that are finding this reading, I feel that there's a little bit of sentimentality that might come in towards the end of the year. Again, though, what I want to really reiterate and emphasize is it seems like a very natural progression over the course of this cycle, and I don't think it stops you from, it doesn't look like it's going to stop you in your tracks, at least not by the end of 2019. I want to say also, I feel like this, of course, this entire cycle that we're looking at continues on beyond 2019, but that's what we've set our sights on here. And so you will know if this resonates for you, and you will also understand what the entire cycle involves, which could be much, much longer. And as I said, it might even be the beginning of a 12-year cycle if it is involving your ruling planet Jupiter, which is just something that's happening for anyone that has a Sagittarius, especially a Sagittarius sun, or perhaps a Sagittarius moon, or even a rising sign. But I would say, and also especially Sagittarius sun, very, very strong cycle. Or here's another possibility. You might have Jupiter in Sagittarius in dignity, in which case, again, very, very strong cycle. Or one more idea, you just might have a lot of planets in Sagittarius. Some folks have charts that are set up that way, in which case it emphasizes that 12-year cycle idea. You can almost look back too. You can go back 12 years and think about what was going on, how life changed at that point in time. All right, I am asking for cards for Sagittarius. Well, we have first 3 of Swords coming up. And second, the King of Pentacles. Okay. So I know that many of you I know you're certainly capable of reading these cards, and so I would encourage you to think, as I'm pulling these tarot cards, I would encourage you to think about what perhaps the tarot cards mean in relation to the reading for the playing cards. And now I'm asking for 2 cards for the second quarter. The second quarter, we have the 9 of Wands and the Lover's card. Well, I would say already it looks like the relationship portion of this reading is coming through more clearly and strongly, possibly from those tarot cards. I'm wondering what you think, Sagittarius. I'm asking for 2 more cards for the third quarter. And we have 3 cards. The 8 of Cups, the Page of Cups, and the World. Now, I said that I was asking for 2, but 3 were just appearing to me, and so we'll take the 3, right? Okay, 2 more cards, unless there are more, and there's one that has just fallen out. It is the Knight of Pentacles. 1 more card for Sagittarius for 2019. 1 more card for Sagittarius. One more card for Sagittarius for 2019. You know, I think it's right here, Sagittarius, and it is the 7 of Pentacles. Okay, let's take a look. Now, I'm going to just make a statement before I start, and it's going to sort of repeat myself. I apologize, but this is what's coming through to me. I think that the message is going to be quite specific here, again, and so, you know, if that's what comes up, a very specific message, then that's what I'm going to give out, of course. So if you're looking for a message from this channel specifically, and this doesn't come through, you might try one of your other planetary signs, you know, sun, moon, or personal points like the rising sign. You might try those to see if you hit something that's like, wow, that really resonates for me. So for the first quarter, you know, I was talking a lot about manifestation and the sense that you may or may not be satisfied with the current situation. It could go either way, but that at any rate, you are looking at manifesting something that is better, right? And if you are grateful for what you have, if you can find yourself in that spot, if you can get to that place, it can make it a little bit easier, because the energy of gratitude is, of course, a higher frequency, right, than dissatisfaction. But you know, we're all going through different things and different phases in life, of course, and sometimes it can take a while, depending on what we're going through personally, to get to a place where we can feel that we are at peace and calm. And it looks like for some Sagittarius folks, there has been some type of heartache involved or disappointment. And I feel that, you know, the King of Pentacles really corresponds to that 4 of Diamonds, and the sense that, okay, for some folks, it could be that you have some financial security established within a relationship Of course, this is always the case when we are in close, partnership with another person and our finances sort of combine. It is a more stable position to be in, to have those two finances, those two income streams coming in. And so what I am seeing is that for some Sagittarius folks, I want to say I apologize if you couldn't hear me. For some reason, I had my hand over my mouth. I don't ever do that. I wonder why I'm doing that. Okay, I'm not sure if that means something. Let me go on to say that for some Sagittarius folks, it could be that you are considering ways to make improvements to a relationship. That's why I want to say improvements to a relationship where you are bonded in such a way that your finances are probably pretty much linked or integrated. And it could be, well, it could be, let me put it this way, one of a couple of things. Either you would like the spark of the relationship to be renewed. There could be a sense that the relationship has become a little bit stale, perhaps, and that can be quite painful. Okay, let me say that can be a quite painful situation, and it can extend out for quite some time, right? But there's also the possibility for some folks that a relationship has come or will be coming to an end. I am not predicting that. I want to say I am only I'm not predicting that for everybody that watches this reading. Let me say that. I am just saying that there is a possibility for a few folks that is what is being pictured here, and you will know. You will know this. It's not going to be like a surprise in my reading, like, oh goodness, that's going to happen. This is a long-term process, so you will kind of have the sense of that's a possibility. And you might actually even feel both ways. Like, how can we renew the life in this relationship? That might be one thing that's going on, or there might be a sense that perhaps, even though it will be a very long process, that there is something else better ahead for you in life. Yes, okay, so that's what's coming through from the Three of Swords and the King of Pentacles. I want to say, when I see something like that, I almost hope like it actually doesn't resonate with a whole lot of folks. We want these readings to resonate with as many people as possible, but I'm going to tell you what is coming through in the cards and for me. I do see some very positive indications towards the end of the year, so we'll just keep that in mind. So again, for the second quarter, what I saw was actually quite a bit of enthusiasm for a sense that there might be a new way of life, something better. And this is we have the Nine of Wands and the Lover's card. I think this sort of represents two, well, this is what I'm going to say initially, two contrasting images. One, perhaps, you might be aware that in a certain relationship, I feel this has to do with one relationship, although it might be groups of people, that's possible. But either in one relationship or with a group of people, that you have been coming out of this thing not feeling really supported. Let me say that. And that if you are working on manifestation, that that what you would like to feel more of is the sense that you are in a mutually supportive partnership. So both of those concepts, there's a little sense of division, of course, with the Lover's card, but so that can be going on. You can sort of sense this division, the sense of not being supported, but at the same time knowing that there is a possibility in this lifetime of finding a very strong and blessed union, one that will be mutually supportive for you, and that could be like a new start. I don't know that would, I'm not actually seeing that would occur in the second quarter, but it's more, from what I'm picking up, an awareness about it, an awareness of the things that you would like to change and what you would like more of, whether it is with the current folks you are in association with, or the current partner, or someone different. Either way, I'm seeing it, there's potential for both, I think. By the third quarter, I have to say, things are really brightening up for you. I think there is a much clearer sense, you have a clearer sense, Sagittarius, of exactly what it is that you want. The first 2 quarters looked a little rough there, but by the third quarter, or around there, it looks like you have a much better picture. You are potentially manifesting a very clear and focused vision. There is more satisfaction in life, and you feel that you have much more control. This is also consistent with what I said about feeling a lot more enthusiasm. And so this looks very, very promising indeed. Whatever happened in the first half of the year that was a little rough, it looks like you're really off to a beautiful start by the third quarter. Now, in the fourth quarter, you know, I mentioned that there a little bit of sentimentality, perhaps about something that would be left behind. Could be the sale of a property, that's possible, I mentioned that. But it could really anything that has to be left behind in order to create this new and better life. I really see that coming through in the Seven of Pentacles. Sort of a sense that, you know, I've put a lot of work into this. A lot of work into this segment of my life, or these people, or what I have manifested for myself thus far. And so the transition you are going through can feel a little bit like there's a little perhaps sense of loss with sentimentality. But also with sentimentality, there is a sweetness about it. And coming out of the third quarter in a much more positive perspective, that makes sense. I also see in the Knight of Pentacles, it looks like there clearly is a new start ahead. It possibly won't come into being, though, until after 2019. It could involve, very well could involve, some aspect of your finances. That is possible. But I'm also sensing, I want to say, I'm hearing an independent streak comes through for you that also brings you a great deal of strength. Now that is possible. You know, another thing that I am seeing, Sagittarius, if you have done a lot of work around this, a lot of work. And so my feeling is that there is simply no way that you are not going to come out ahead at the end of this longer, larger cycle. Whether it is that you are remaining with the, let's say, the current situation and you are making it better, and there's work involved there, of course, but that can certainly come about. or whether it involves actually an entire brand new picture around you. Either way, I really see you coming through this beautifully, and it's a very, very big step and process, it looks like, that you are going through in 2019, Sagittarius. Well, this is your reading, Sagittarius, for 2019. Let me say thank you so very much for your views, for your likes, for the shares, and to the subscribers to the channel. I can't tell you really how much I appreciate your support. And I want to thank you so much for being here, for watching, and for listening. And I'll see you next time.